Welcome to Celestial Zodiac. Today we're going to talk about the 11th house of the Zodiac wheel. The 11th house in astrology represents community, groups, collective ideals, and the future we imagine together. After the 10th house focuses on personal achievement, public role, and individual responsibility, the 11th house expands awareness beyond the self and into the collective. This is the house of shared goals, social networks, movements, and visions for what could be. The 11th house asks how we participate in society and what kind of future we are helping to build. The natural zodiac ruler of the 11th house is Aquarius. Its traditional planetary ruler is Saturn, and its modern ruler is Uranus. This combination gives the 11th house a unique dual quality: structure and rebellion, tradition and innovation. Elementally, it aligns with air and its modality is fixed, meaning this house sustains ideals, principles, and long-term visions. The 11th house answers the question, where do I belong and how do I contribute to something larger than myself? Psychologically, the 11th house governs ideals, aspirations, and the need for social connection based on shared values rather than emotional dependency. It reflects how individuals relate to groups, communities, and collective identity. This house shows whether belonging feels liberating or alienating, and whether individuality is supported or suppressed within group dynamics. Externally, the 11th house governs friendships, social circles, organizations, networks, and collective causes. This includes professional networks, activist groups, online communities, and social movements. It also relates to technology and systems that connect people across distance. The 11th house reflects how we navigate social environments that are not based on family or obligation, but on choice and shared vision. On an inner level, the 11th house represents the future-oriented mind. It governs hope, vision, and the ability to imagine possibilities beyond current limitations. This house reflects whether someone feels optimistic about the future or disconnected from it. When strong, the 11th house supports belief in progress and collective improvement. When challenged, it can feel difficult to see one's place in the larger picture. The 11th house also governs the tension between individuality and belonging. While the 5th house expresses personal creativity and joy, the 11th house asks how that individuality fits within the collective. This house raises questions about authenticity within groups. Can you remain yourself while participating in shared goals, or do you feel pressure to conform? This balance is central to the 11th house experience. At a deeper level, the 11th house reveals how people relate to systems and ideals. Some individuals place great hope in social structures, movements, or future outcomes. Others remain skeptical or detached. This house reflects whether ideals inspire action or remain abstract. It teaches that meaningful change requires participation, not just belief. The 11th house also governs innovation and forward thinking. It encourages questioning existing structures and imagining alternatives. This is why it is associated with reform, progress, and unconventional ideas. However, innovation in this house is not purely personal. It is oriented toward collective benefit rather than individual expression. In everyday life, the 11th house shows up in how people engage with friends, communities, and social causes. It influences networking, collaboration, and involvement in group efforts. Others may experience your 11th house through your openness, inclusivity, and vision, or through detachment and distance if emotional connection feels secondary to ideals. On a practical level, the 11th house shows up in how people navigate social spaces that are not emotionally intimate but still meaningful. This includes group chats, online communities, professional networks, social platforms, and collaborative environments. Daily interactions under this house often revolve around exchanging ideas, sharing resources, or participating in collective efforts rather than personal disclosure. The 11th house also influences how comfortable someone feels reaching out to others, asking for support, or contributing to shared goals. Some people naturally thrive in collaborative environments, while others feel drained or disconnected by group dynamics. This house reveals whether participation feels energizing or alienating, and whether individuals feel seen as themselves within a group or reduced to a role. In daily routines, the 11th house can shape how time and energy are invested in causes, friendships, and future-oriented plans. It often shows up in involvement with organizations, volunteering, advocacy, or long-term planning for goals that extend beyond immediate personal needs. When balanced, this house brings a sense of purpose through contribution. When challenged, it can feel like giving without receiving or belonging without connection. Behaviorally, this house affects how individuals function within groups. A strong 11th house emphasis often brings social awareness, humanitarian concern, and comfort within diverse communities. When challenged, it can manifest as feeling like an outsider, resisting belonging, or prioritizing ideals over human connection. Some people may avoid intimacy in favor of group identity, while others may struggle to find a sense of belonging at all. When planets are placed in the 11th house, their influence becomes collective and future-oriented. These planets express themselves through groups, friendships, and shared goals rather than through personal recognition. Because the 11th house is about contribution to the collective, planets here often operate behind the scenes or within networks rather than in the spotlight. For example, the Sun in the 11th house emphasizes identity through community and shared vision. The Moon in the 11th house brings emotional connection to friends and causes. Mercury in the 11th house enhances communication within groups and systems. Venus in the 11th house values friendship, equality, and shared ideals. Mars in the 11th house brings drive toward collective action. Uranus in the 11th house amplifies innovation and unconventional thinking. Regardless of the planet, placements here highlight participation in something larger than the self. The ruling planets of the 11th house are Saturn and Uranus. Saturn reflects responsibility to the collective and the structures that support society. Uranus represents disruption, reform, and future thinking. To understand how the 11th house operates in a chart, you look at the sign on the 11th house cusp and then locate Saturn and Uranus. Their condition reveals how someone balances stability with change within group contexts. When functioning well, the 11th house provides strengths such as vision, collaboration, inclusivity, and the ability to think beyond personal gain. This house supports social awareness, innovation, and long-term planning for collective benefit. It allows individuals to feel connected without losing individuality. However, the 11th house also has challenges and a shadow side. When overemphasized, it can lead to emotional detachment, idealism without action, or prioritizing abstract causes over personal relationships. People may hide behind ideology to avoid vulnerability. When underdeveloped, this house can manifest as isolation, lack of community, or difficulty trusting collective systems. Another challenge of the 11th house involves disillusionment. When ideals fail to match reality, hope can collapse into cynicism. Individuals may withdraw from participation altogether, believing that collective efforts are futile. This house teaches that disappointment does not invalidate vision but refines it. Growth in the 11th house comes from engaging with the collective consciously. This means participating in groups without surrendering individuality, and holding ideals while remaining grounded in human reality. Conscious use of this house involves balancing vision with compassion and innovation with responsibility. A balanced 11th house supports meaningful connection, shared purpose, and hope for the future. It allows individuals to contribute to collective progress while remaining emotionally present. Awareness of this house transforms community from abstraction into lived experience. The 11th house works as part of the larger house system. It follows the 10th house of individual responsibility and precedes the 12th house of dissolution and surrender. After establishing a role in the world, the 11th house asks how that role contributes to society as a whole. It prepares the way for the 12th house, where personal identity dissolves into universal awareness. The 11th house represents the future we imagine together. It reminds us that growth does not happen in isolation, and that collective vision shapes what becomes possible. When understood consciously, this house becomes a source of hope, innovation, and shared purpose. In upcoming videos, we'll continue exploring the astrology houses step by step, moving into the 12th house and completing the full cycle of the chart. Understanding the houses helps you understand where your life unfolds. This is just the beginning. Thank you for watching Celestial Zodiac. If you found this breakdown of the 11th house helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video so you don't miss the rest of the series.